I'm Courtney Melvin.
I'm Sarah Horn.
I'm Madison Miller.
I'm Julia Banks, and we are how to maintain the resurgence of African Americans in baseball.
So a little bit of history about African Americans in baseball. There were two leagues. One was a white league, and starting in 1920, the first Negro League was created. In 1946, Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier by becoming the first African American Major League Baseball player. In 1960, the Negro League dissolved, and the Major League Baseball was unified.
After research, we found that in the past decade, the African Americans in the Major League Baseball has gone up and down, but within the past 2 years, it has been on the rise. In 2013, 7 players were in the first round draft that were African American. This was the highest since 1992. A lot of the reason for the growth of the development of the African Americans is because of a lot of programs and things like that, and a lot of the young African Americans are having a lot of motivation because of the rise of the MLB players. This past spring, 68 players were in the opening day roster, which was the largest they've had in 3 years.
According to USA Today's Sport Research, African Americans make up 7.8% of players on Major League Baseball's opening day rosters and disabled list. This has stopped a decline from the past 3 decades. 5 players from baseball's Urban Academy in Compton, California were on MLB's 40-man roster in the spring.
USA Today recently released an article which discussed how around 65% of African American players are 30 years old or younger in the game today. Since 2012, only 18 African Americans were picked for the first round of the amateur draft. Tony Reagan, the MLB's Senior VP for Youth Programs, was quoted saying that the progress is encouraging and that there are more younger African American players engaged in the game as they come up from sports programs that are better preparing their athletes.
According to USA Today, 5 players from baseball's Urban Academy in Compton, California were on 40-man rosters for spring training. To support the resurgence of African Americans in baseball, we came up with a list of a few recommendations. Our first recommendation was to market more big-name players and use a more hands-on approach. This way we can build role models for children to want to look up to and participate more in baseball. Our next is promote inner-city youth participation and kind of drive them away from the typical football and basketball that is popular. Our next point is to build programs to financially support youth players through scholarships for uniform and equipment needs. An example program would be the MLB Urban Youth Academy in Compton, California, which consists of an after-school program, week-long clinics accommodating approximately 200 youth per day, and as well as month-long clinics. This is a free, year-round program that provides instruction in baseball and softball to area youth. Our last recommendation is to have heavier scouting in inner-city area in order to draw in more African American youth.
I don't care about any of this as a black guy. I care about this as a baseball fan. We don't really need baseball, but baseball needs us. Fact is, Black America decides what's hot and what young people get excited about. Ask the men's golf tour or the women's tennis tour. Why don't you just ask Mitt Romney? You lose Black America, you lose young America. And make no mistake, baseball is losing.
Examples of big-name players would be Hank Aaron, Jason Hayward, and Andrew McCutchen. Hank Aaron played for the Atlanta Braves from 1954 to 1974, where he broke Babe Ruth's record for most home runs and held the record for 33 years. Jason Hayward and Andrew McCutchen are current players on the Cardinals and Pirates who are heavily followed in the media. Both athletes are portrayed as superstars that are just like regular guys.